Well, hello, welcome to this AD Quickbite, and as you gathered by the thumbnail, I'm going to show you how to tie a no-nonsense bottom bait carp rig. Now, why do I say it's no nonsense? Well, it's a nice simple rig and components which has been used for a very long time now. These are obviously made with some sort of more up-to-date bits, but in theory, it is an old school rig which works so well for bottom bait presentations. Now, why am I talking about bottom bait presentations? Everyone's using spinners, everyone's using hinges. Well, there are times of the year, trust me, when the fish don't want to pop up. The winters, the early springs, I love a pop-up, fish love them. They're obviously searching around those high-vis hook baits, they really work. But this time of year, the fish, they've spawned, they've got that over and done with, they're hungry, they are in the silt, in the weed, searching out all those natural baits, and they want a lot of bait. So when you're putting out pellets, corn, boilies, all out in the spots, I think a bottom bait, trust me, I think works so well in the summer and the autumn. And that is why I'm going to show you this rig. As I mentioned earlier, it's been about for a long time. It will still go on and on in the future because it is a tried and tested rig. So let me show you how I tie it, and I'm also going to show you a few little neat tricks in sort of hair lengths so it suits a variety of different bottom baits. So first things first, get a coated material, braid material I should mention. This is Blend by OMC, 25 pounds. It's quite a soft coated material. You can actually get it in stiff, so there's lots of different variants you can get, but it has to be a coated braid. Trim off about 40 centimeters, that's probably going to give you enough rope to tie this rig, and then using a stripper tool, strip off probably 15, maybe 17 centimeters of the coating. Next, tie a little figure of 8 loop knot in the end. That is for your hair, smaller the better. And then after that, I like to get a little bit of rig tubing. This is Advanta stuff, it's really cheap, you get loads in a spool and it's perfect. Just trim off a smidge, probably 3 or 4 mil, and slide that onto the hook link. Now, get your hook. Now this is quite important for me. I quite like a wide gape hook. Some people use long shanks, they're really good as well. But for me, a wide gape in a size 4, I'm using the Korda Kamakuras here, but any wide gapes work. And now you just want to basically thread your hook link down through the eye and then get the hook point and pass that through that little bit of rig tubing that you've threaded onto your hook link. That way, your hook link, or hair I should say, is now neatly running down the shank of the hook, and you've got basically that hair on your hook. Now, what I would suggest doing, get your hook bait that you're going to use on that particular rig and actually attach it to the hair before you tie the knotless knot. That way you can get the hair length absolutely bob on for that particular rig. Now for me on this one, I'm using a little trimmed down sticky quill dumbbell and a little bit of plastic corn just as a little side top, and then I'll just attach that to the hair. And now this is the important bit, that is getting that hair the right length. So just pull the hair down till you're happy. I like about a 4 to 5 mil gap between the shank bend of the hook, as you can see what I mean. And that is perfect for that hook bait in my opinions. And now I would just literally tie a knotless knot, which means whipping that braid back up the hook shank. It doesn't really matter how many times you go up, but what's really important is you're left with an amount of stripped back material beyond the eye, and that is to accommodate the liner liners that we use in this rig. So that will come naturally. After a while of tying this rig, you'll know how much you'll need to leave for how big your liner is, but then obviously put the hook link back through the eye of the hook, pull it down. Now you can grab your liner. Now these Evolve liner liners are real handy. You can get them in all different shapes and sizes. I like the medium and the largest because I use a big old hook. This is a medium. I'll then slide that onto the hook link and neatly push that over the eye of the hook. This is where I mentioned that you need to get that stripped back material perfect. You need that little bit just showing on the hook link. That just adds a bit of movement, makes sure the rig works well. Now you need an Antiangle Sleeve. These Advanta ones are really great, really cheap, but they are a bit long in my opinion, so I just like to trim them down and then I'll slide that on the hook link and tie another figure of 8 loop knot in the hook link. But you must sort of obviously decide the length of your hook link before you tie that loop, because that is obviously quite a big factor. If you're fishing over a more firmer hook, lake bed I should say, I'd probably go a little bit shorter. If you're fishing over a softer one or a little bit light weed, maybe a little bit longer. But that's all down to you, personal preference. So tie the figure of 8 loop knot, trim the tag, and then pull the anti-tangle sleeve down. But that is pretty much the rig finished. The last little bit is a little bit of putty. I like to pinch off a little bit of putty and just put it onto the hook link, probably about halfway. And for me, that is pretty much that rig finished. Now, earlier you heard me talking about the sort of hairs and how you can make them different lengths for different hook baits. So there's many different variants. You can actually use this rig with the hook bait has a little bit of buoyancy in. Not a lot, but a little bit. And I like to use it as a snowman. So you've got a 15mm bottom bait, a little 12mm pop up on top, and it will just sit above the hook, sort of masking the hook. But you do need to make your hair a little bit longer. But if you go and put the bottom bait and pop up on the hair before you whip it on, you can get that perfect. The only thing I'd like to say with that rig, we're using the Snowman, is have the hair exiting the shank of the hook more towards the eye than the bend. Probably opposite the hook point. So with the buoyancy in the hook bait, when that lifts up, say when the carp picks it up, you want that hook to fall down in that sort of claw position and catch hold of the bottom lip. So that is why I put that little bit of rig tube in, sort of more towards the eye of the hook than the bend as such. The other one is you can make your hair really long, put a bottom bait straight on the hair and pull that rig tube in right round past the bend. Because that bait is really heavy, when you pull it into your palm like this palm trick, it literally flips and turns every time because it's making the point of the hook heavy, and therefore basically when you pull it into your palm or the fish's bottom lip, it grabs hold every time. So there you go, that's 3 different sort of variations of this no nonsense bottom bait rig. It is class rig. Get out there in the summer months, go and catch some fish, because trust me, carp love eating off the deck in the summer. And if you want to make your own rigs, click the links and it will take you to Angling Direct, and you can get all these bits to go out, tie your own rigs and get fishing. Remember, like this video if you found it informative, and give us a follow if you haven't already.